Good morning. I invite you to turn to one another and recognize from your own inner worth and dignity to the worth and dignity of the others around you, the presence of others on this morning. I have a few announcements. I am the Reverend Bob Renjilian here at the Unitarian Universalists of Transylvania County, and I'm glad to be welcoming you each here, no matter who you are, how you identify, whether this is your first time, your 15th, or your 1500th time here. We are glad you are here. I had all sorts of strange dreams, and I dreamt that Nat and Zach were ushering again, and they were doing such a great job. And I had some other dream of it involved cats and all sorts of things. This has nothing to do with church. It just has to do with the scatteredness of your minister this morning. But I'm going to go through the script as best as I can so that the rest of the service makes sense. All right. For some announcements that we have, we are preparing for Pride Picnic next Sunday. There is a clipboard on the counter. It has 4 pages of folks signing up so far to come. And they've written in what they're bringing, the salads, the side dishes, brownies. See if there's something you could bring too, and the more to share, the better. Next weekend is both the 27th anniversary of the official signing of the founding members of our congregation for this place to officially exist, and hosting the Pride Picnic has become a part of our living mission as part of that anniversary. I appreciate that. There are pronoun stickers available at the membership desk. If you come up and see people, it's optional if you'd like to put your pronouns on your name tag. I have chosen he, him, but you can choose she, her, they, them, or you can cut and mix and match. The little stickers are up at the membership desk if you want them. Those are free. Take as you need, and if we're getting low and run out, then we can buy some more sheets. Also, there are flag magnets up there on the counter to buy. Those are $5 each from the NAACP LGBTQIA+ committee, and that helps reimburse that group for the cost of getting all those. There's an envelope there where you can stick in your donation to help reimburse them. Looking ahead, I realize many of these are pride-oriented. Monday, June 15th is Moral Monday at the courthouse, and it will be specifically for LGBTQIA+ support, and all are welcome. I've been to Moral Mondays many times. Are there others in this room who've shown up from time to time down there? Yeah. So you know it's at the courthouse there at the center. And is it 5 o'clock now? 5 o'clock, Ian says, is the current time that they've set up to do those. And Carter Haywood is going to be saying some words at that event, our own Carter Haywood. I wish I could be there, but I will be at the funeral for Christy's mom. So will others show up, please, to represent UUs? That would be great. Oh, we spoke of name tags just a moment ago. Please be careful where you put your name tag. Now, I don't mean that you brought it home with you after church and left it on your kitchen counter or whatever. You see how I have my name tag on this side? That is for 2 reasons. One is if you're going to shake hands with somebody, the person looks naturally to that side to see who they're talking to. The other is if you put it on this side and you have a pacemaker, the magnet in your name tag may in fact make your pacemaker not work correctly. So please don't put your name tags over medical devices. We repeat this message every once in a while for people to remember. If you have a clip-on one, that's not an issue, but the magnet ones, don't want that. UUTC is joining a statewide initiative to boost voter turnout among Black, Indigenous, and people of color folks in North Carolina this November. Through the North Carolina UU The Vote Project, members and friends can spend part of their summer helping by drawing positive voting messages onto postcards or phone calling voters to check their voting status or knocking on doors letting voters know that their votes count. And Ian, who is an usher today over in the back, says talk to him if you have any questions or want to start saying yes, you'd like to be a part of that project this year. Thank you for listening to these particular announcements. There are so many other things going on. What, Nancy, you know one?
I'm organizing a Habitat Work Day on Wednesday the 3rd, this coming Wednesday from 9 to 2. We still have room for a few more people to volunteer. If you would like to do so, there's a sign-up sheet up front, or talk to me after the service.
Great. So for those of you online who didn't hear what was said in the room, you may see that slide that's up for the Wednesday, June 3rd Habitat for Humanity project. And Nancy Richards would love to know that you're signing up and can be there. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for being part of our community in this way. Now let us enter into the beauty of worship together with music that Scott and Karen have brought to us.
Little pebble upon the sand, now you're lying here in my hand. How many years have you been here? Little human upon the sand, from where I'm lying here in your hand. You to me are but a passing dream. The sun will always shine where you stand, depending in which land you may find yourself. Now you have my blessing, go your way. Happiness runs, happiness runs. Happiness runs, happiness runs. Happiness runs in a circular motion. Thought is like a little boat upon the sea. Everybody is a part of everything anyway. You can have everything if you let yourself be. You can have everything if you let yourself be. Why, oh, because. Why, oh, because. Happiness runs, happiness runs. Happiness runs, happiness runs. Happiness runs in a circular motion. Thought is like a little boat upon the sea. All our souls are deeper than you can see. You can have everything if you let yourself be. You can have everything if you let yourself be. Happiness runs in a circular motion. Thought is like a little boat upon the sea. Everybody is a part of everything anyway. You can have everything if you let yourself be. You can have everything if you let yourself be. Happiness runs, happiness runs. Happiness runs, happiness runs.
Good morning. I'm Janet Eckhoff, and I'm your worship associate this morning. We are going to read the words together. They're adapted from E.E. Cummings. They're up on the screen. We light this chalice for the stories that connect us, for the compassion that sustains us, and for the community that helps each of us flourish. May we offer one another welcome without judgment, listening without interruption, and care without condition.
This is the part of the service where we light the candles of joy and of sorrow. We enter into this room with our hearts focused on things that are happening in our lives, and some of those things we choose to share with the wider community. This is one of those moments. I have several written notes, and I will also read from those things that were sent to me electronically. Christy Renjilian asks that I light a candle of thanks for all the words of support she's receiving in the light of her dad and mom's recent deaths. Thank you, congregation. Tara McDonald asked me to remind folks of the meal train that is set up for her and her family. There is on the counter information about that meal train, and we hope that more can help support that family in this time of need. R.K. Young lights a candle for the lots of people, many, many people who came to volunteer at the UUTC cleanup day yesterday. And doesn't the place look much nicer outside too? This is a candle of sorrow from Susan Slocum for Beth Claus, who has shingles. And that also means that we need a crew chief and more volunteers for the picnic, because Beth had a pivotal position for next week. Nancy Richards lights a candle of gratitude. I am so grateful for my mom's 95 years on this earth and for the family life she and my dad provided. And Janet, this is your candle to light. Janet asks that we pray for her son, Tristan, who's in the hospital with pneumonitis in Detroit. I'm so sorry, Janet. May he be healing well. And this one from Susan Burr, to please light a candle or maybe a dozen for the joy yesterday afternoon and evening at Hendersonville's Trinity Presbyterian Church. 93 plus members of the Atlanta Gay Men's Chorus sang to two audiences of hundreds of enthusiastic supporters. And let's light a candle for the things not yet shared, held in the hearts of people right here in the room, or perhaps for those of you who are watching online. Spirit of love and life, we lift up in prayer the joys, the sorrows, the hopes that these candles represent. May our lighting these candles be indeed a prayer that is felt and heard among all those who have lit them and for whom these have been lit. Blessed be, amen. Spirit of life, come to me, sing in my heart all the stories of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the land, revive the shade of justice. Whose holy blows, winds set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
The reading this morning will be responsive. It's an original liturgy inspired by contemporary UU worship themes. There are no solitary flowers in a thriving garden. It's not, Catherine? There we are. Okay.
Depends upon shared life and living roots.
We flourish when we're seen.
We flourish when we are heard.
We flourish when the truth is welcomed gently.
We flourish when vulnerability is met with care.
In sharing our stories, we create community.
In community, we discover ourselves anew.
Let us worship with open hearts.
Let us flourish together.
Let us worship together.
Opening hymn is number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Source of all to thee we raise, this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of you and I, for the honor and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, bringing sense to sound and sight. Source of all to thee we raise, this our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour, of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Source of all to thee we raise, this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild. Source of all to thee we raise, this our hymn of grateful praise. Kevin gets a day off, and so I will be sharing a story with you. The story is called The Last Stop on Market Street, with the words by Matt de la Pena and pictures by Christian Robinson. And I'm going to point out that if I can, I will have a link to YouTube in our afterword on Monday that also links to this sermon, so that you can go and see the author read this storybook on a bus with actors coming on and off reenacting the pieces of this. Yeah, it is cool. Last Stop on Market Street. CJ pushed through the church doors and stepped down the steps. The outside air smelled like freedom, but it also smelled like rain, which freckled CJ's shirt and dripped down his nose. He ducked under his Nana's umbrella, saying, "How come we gotta wait for the bus in all this wet?" "Trees get thirsty too," his Nana told him. "Don't you see that big one drinking through a straw?" And CJ looked for a long time, but he never saw a straw. From the bus stop, he watched the water pool on the flower petals. He watched the rain patter against the windshield of a nearby car. His friend Colby climbed in and gave CJ a wave and drove off with his dad. Nana, how come we don't got a car? What's this I see? The driver, Mr. Dennis, asked, and he pulled a coin from behind CJ's ear and placed it in his palm, and Nana laughed her deep laugh and pushed CJ along. They sat up front. The man across the way was tuning a guitar, and the old woman with curlers had butterflies in a jar. And Nana gave everyone a great big smile and a good afternoon, and she made sure that CJ did the same. A man climbed in aboard with a spotted dog, and CJ gave up his seat. How come that man can't see? Boy, what do you know about seeing? Nana asked him. Some people watch the world with their ears. That's a fact. Their noses too, the man said, sniffing at the air. That's a mighty fine perfume you're wearing today, ma'am. And Nana squeezed the man's hand and laughed her deep laugh. Two older boys got on next, and CJ watched as they moved on and stood in the back. He saw that they were listening to a listening device and had earplugs in, and said, "Sure wish I had one of those." And Nana set down her knitting and said, "What for? You got the real live thing sitting across from you. Why don't you ask the man if he'll play us a song?" And CJ didn't have to. The guitar player was already plucking strings and beginning to sing. "To feel the magic of music," the blind man whispered. "I like to close my eyes." And Nana closed hers too, and so did CJ and the spotted dog. And in the darkness, the rhythm lifted CJ out of the bus, out of the busy city, and he saw sunset colors swirling over crashing waves, and saw a family of hawks slicing through the sky, and saw the old woman's butterflies dancing free in the light of the moon. CJ's chest grew full, and he was lost in the sound, and the sound gave him a feeling of magic. The song ended, and CJ opened his eyes, and everybody on the bus clapped, even the boys in the back. And Nana glanced at the coin in CJ's palm, and CJ knew what that meant. CJ dropped it in the man's hat. "Last stop on Marcus Street," Mr. Dennis called from the driver's seat. CJ looked around as he stepped off the bus. Crumbling sidewalks, broken down doors, graffiti tag windows, and boarded up stores. He reached for his Nana's hand. "How come it's always so dirty over here?" She smiled and pointed to the sky. "Sometimes when you're surrounded by dirt, CJ, you're a better witness to what's beautiful." When he spotted the familiar faces in the window, he said, "I'm glad we came." And he thought his Nana might laugh, her deep laugh, but she didn't. She patted him on the head and said, "Me too, CJ. Now, come on." And that's the end of the story, as they served their soup at the soup kitchen on the Sunday after church. I hope that you like this story, and like I said, you want to hear it direct from the author with everything being played out. I mean, how do you do that? They went to a school with a real bus. They got children on board the bus to watch the whole trip take place just like it does in the book. Amazing. I don't know if we have any children who want to go get a fidget bag or do something else with their day, but we are welcome you here in this space. But if you want to go in the nursery with your adult, you can do that too. But at any point, you're welcome to be here, because this place is for all ages. This is the last Sunday for our special collection for the Haven. I'll read their official statement, because that would be really polite. How does the Haven help? The shelter provides a warm and inviting atmosphere where residents are treated with dignity and genuine caring. Staff helps residents figure out how they got there and what steps they need to take to move on to stable, affordable housing. The Haven refers clients to community agencies that provide counseling and other assistance, and residents are expected to complete goal plans and move forward to bettering their life. Anything that you donate in the envelope today will go towards that final monthly gift to the Haven. And anything you put in the basket itself go to the good of this wonderful religious community and UUTC's presence here in your lives and the lives of others. We will now gratefully receive the morning offering. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Ian. What's given in love, we receive with great joy. Thank you. I invite you into this time of prayer and meditation in whatever ways you center yourselves and get ready. Perhaps feeling yourself grounded through your feet, or closing your eyes, released into this moment. Spirit of love and life, we are gathered here this morning. May smell the fumes of the candles, the warmth of their light. We hear the breathing of the people around us and know that the oxygen we share with one another is not the only thing that we share, but also love and connection. Let us notice when there is somebody missing from our midst, not as a way to chastise, but a way to say, I miss you. For when we exercise our love and care and connection, O Spirit of love and life, we are moving and being in all that is holy. We are, in fact, living out the commandments that we have to be good to one another and to be of use in this world. Most importantly, we know we are a part of something bigger than ourselves, and that means those we might reach out to in our rows here or those that we reach out to electronically. Just knowing we are part of a community is in itself a blessing. And we are part of something greater than that even. In whatever way we name it or feel it, we are vibrating beings in this universe of holiness. And though our world may be shown to us in ways in which we fail as human beings to live out that love, while we would pray for peace in this world, let us never forget we are not isolated beings. We have each other, and we have a connection to the holy. Let us hold this prayer and the prayers of our hearts and meditations of our minds in the silence. In the names of all those known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind, we say amen. Blessed be.
It's just a little after Memorial Day. Last year, around Memorial Day, I sang a song called Touch a Name on the Wall, Song of Remembrance. Last month, I sang a song about a guy sitting on a tractor, planting. And those two songs sort of led me to this one. This is about a guy watching trains. Son, won't you help me on this platform? I'm not too good climbing stairs. I brought me a drink and some sandwiches. I just want to sit and watch the trains. Well, I come down here almost every Sunday. My grandkids, they used to come too. Now they drop me off at the front gate. I guess they've got better things to do. Number 47, she's a good one. Number 63 sings like a bird. Number 29, that's the one they call the Rocket. Hey, that's the saddest train I ever heard. Son, I'm a decorated veteran. I fought in what they call the Great War. I used to believe in everything it stood for. I don't believe in much anymore. Number 47, she's a good one. Number 63 sings like a bird. Number 29, that's the one they call the Rocket. Hey, that's the saddest train I ever heard. Son, you look just like my boy. He stood here almost 40 years today. He looked so good in that brand new soldier's uniform. That rocket never brought him back again. Number 47, she's a good one. Number 63 sings like a bird. Number 29, that's the one they call the rocket. Hey, that's the saddest train I ever heard. Number 29, that's the one they call the rocket. Hey, that's the saddest train I ever heard.
Thank you so much for that message. You'd almost think, although it didn't really happen, that we coordinated on having a story, Wisdom for All Ages, that talked about helping others, and then a song about helping out a veteran, and stories and appreciating what's around you. We didn't communicate on that. It just happened, serendipity. I didn't list what I was doing as my readings because I hadn't really pulled them all together when I sent out the order of service, but if you're a visitor and you picked up one, it says Bible readings on community. And I finally compiled some that make sense about understanding community and why throughout time, for at least a couple thousand years, we've been talking about being a community in religious settings. Now, these are all, as far as I can tell, all New Testament readings. And that's no slight to Islam or Judaism or any other religions. It just so happens that these really hit home for me in understanding what's going on. And for those of you who would like that kind of Christian nourishment, we got it. I put them in an order that I think makes sense. I'm going to start with Hebrews 10:24-25. Let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing. You hear that? Not giving up on meeting with one another, as some are doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Romans 12:10 says, be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. And Ecclesiastes 4:9-12 says, two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either one of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help him up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. And a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Galatians 5:13 says, you, my brothers and sisters, are called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh, rather serve one another humbly in love. Romans 12:10 goes on with this, be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. And 1 Peter 4:10 says, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. 1 Thessalonians 5:14-15 says, and we urge you, brothers and sisters, warn those who are idle and disruptive, encourage the disheartened, help the weak, be patient with everyone. Make sure that nobody pays back wrong for wrong, but always strive to do what is good for each other and for everyone else. And finally, ending with Galatians 6:2, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Now, my sermon this morning is on flourishing together. And this is an important thing, that we're not just trying to go at it alone. And I know I see you all in here, and maybe you're not here every week, but somehow you are feeling connected in community, and find something here that helps nourish you and helps you grow, or helps you heal, or helps you recognize the areas of, well, stubbornness that need to be softened a little bit, or maybe shyness that could come out a little more boldly. Whatever it may be that helps you thrive a little better, you found this place and this community. And that's important, because we do flourish together. And I'm going to quote some studies. There's studies from Harvard and Ohio State University that indicate that individuals who regularly attend religious services live up to 4 to 7 years longer than non-attendees. Scientifically proven research. The research points to a mix of lifestyle factors, social support, and reduced stress. And to summarize these studies, key contributing factors linking church attendance to a longer life include, and I got these summarized at the top of my Google search, so it's not phrased the way I would phrase it, it's phrased the way Google's AI would phrase it. There's decreased stress. Researchers found that regular attendees have lower allostatic load. Allostatic load is a measure of the body's cumulative wear and tear from chronic stress. You have healthier habits. Churchgoers tend to smoke less, drink less alcohol, and are more likely to have a healthier diet. Social support. The Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that strong built-in community networks play a major role in lowering depression and improving a hopeful outlook on life. And behavioral benefits. Even after controlling for social support and health behaviors, studies suggested that religious affiliation promotes better self-care and a sense of purpose. And now, while exact numbers vary depending on the study, with some finding up to a 55% reduction in mortality risk for middle-aged adults who attend frequently, I emphasize frequently, work up your attendance here. The consensus is that community and behavioral aspects associated with religious services provide a measurable physiological benefit. Now, okay, there are studies from a couple different universities, and actually there's more out there, and I'll quote a whole bunch of them later because you may not believe me the first time around. So I'll just keep telling you more perspectives on this. I realize if you watch puppies or kittens, a whole bunch of mammals, the ones that go up and cuddle each other, flop all over each other, and feel like they're part of a family, thrive. Now, there are some litters out there, you may have the one piglet that is shunned. And that piglet does not thrive. And I will tell you that if any point in your life you have had family, friends, school bullies, or anybody else telling you're not part of the group, that nobody's going to sit with you in the cafeteria, or whatever else, you know how much you are dragging. You probably don't learn well. You don't skip on your way home. You don't know if you have a place. And hopefully you have somebody you're going home to, and somebody will provide that. Because for a whole lot of people who find that they're excluded and aren't feeling the warmth of those connected feelings, those puppy pile feelings, that they will turn to other things, a gang to have community, to be recognized, drugs that somehow for a moment take that feeling of coldness and isolation away. Whatever it may be, those things do not lead to flourishing. I would imagine that if you asked in a community, is your child a Sunday school kid or a gang kid? And then compared the longevity of each, you would find the Sunday school kid had way more than 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years more life in them over their lifetime. It's not just being together then that's important, but being together in a way that is with the values that lead us to flourish together. That's why I was reading all of those different books from the New Testament of how we should be with one another, because oftentimes religion is teaching us how to live in community with ways that are more charitable, honorable, humble, supportive. And those messages begin to give us more hope and the sense that we can make it in the world. Now, you know this, right? Because you're here and you're sitting here and you're part of this. And you have been through grief and you've been through joys. And for some of you, I know because it's true for me, the chance to say out loud, this is going on in my life, to a small circle of other people, is to feel recognized and to feel affirmed that my life is known to others. What I do is known to others. Now I'm going to read you some more studies here. Tyler Vanderweel asked, do religious people live longer? And this was on the Harvard EDU site as well. If a long life is what you're after, going to church may be the answer to your prayers. A number of studies have shown associations between attending religious services and living a long time. One of the most comprehensive, published in the Journal of American Medical Association, or JAMA, Internal Medicine in 2016, found that women who went to any kind of religious service more than once a week had a 33% lower chance than their secular peers of dying during a 16-year study follow-up period. 16 years. Another study published in PLOS, which I can't remember what that abbreviation is, one found that regular service attendance was linked to reduction in the body's stress and even mortality, and that was the part about 55% less likely to die in the 18-year follow-up period than people who didn't frequent the temple, church, or mosque frequently. Now, frequently, that doesn't mean once a month. In that particular study, you want to get to 55%, you're coming to church twice a week. I got to be honest, as a pastor, you want a 50%, 55% boost, you got to come at least twice a week. Now that might mean you come to a meditation group and church on Sunday. It might mean that you come to Wonderful Wednesday and Super Sunday. I skipped worship on that one, but it might work. It might work, but you find ways of doing it. Laura Wallace was the lead author of a study at Ohio State University. It was originally titled, One Thing You'll Find in the Obits of Many Long-Lived People. And the link is broken, so you can't get to the original one called that, but it was republished by the American Association of Universities under the title, People with Religious Affiliations Live Longer. Results showed that those whose obituary listed a religious affiliation lived 9.45 years longer than those who didn't. The gap shrunk to 6.48 years after gender and marital status were taken into account, because gender makes a difference, as does having a partner. Many studies have shown that people who volunteer and participate in social groups tend to live longer than others. So the researchers combined data from both studies, and results showed that this was only part of the reason why religious people live longer. Here's a quote. We found that volunteerism and involvement in social organizations only accounted for a little less than 1 year of the longevity boost that religious affiliation provided. There's still a lot of benefit of religious affiliation that this can't explain. Oh, Unitarian Universalists love the mystery here. Can't explain it. So I add this part. In addition, it was found in these studies that where people felt social conformity pressure to be in a religious group, the boost was higher. And I'm thinking what this means is being a UU is even more important in the Bible Belt for health and longevity. Because I know the first time I moved down to the South, people would ask, where do you go to church? All the time, where do you go to church? If you didn't have an answer, you better believe you're going to be standing in that conversation for quite some time and get an invitation to where you were going. Yeah, they were going to get you. They were going to get you. But if you could say, oh, no, yes, I go to church. I have a church. And they might ask, what church is it? And you could say, I go to the Unitarian Universalist. And they'd say, oh, get away from me. But the thing is, if you're in a society like the Bible Belt or some Midwestern cities that have a strong sense that everybody's got to have church or temple or mosque or something, you got to be part of something religiously, and you go along with that, you live longer. So the boost is even greater. If you go and attend in a place where everybody seems to think it's valuable to go and attend, you get an even bigger boost. Have I convinced you to show up again next week? I sure hope so. But we're not just showing up because, oh, I'm going to live longer. I'm just going to sit in the back and do my knitting and not pay attention to Reverend Bob. I know last week everybody paid attention to Friction Farm, right? And the songs and everything. You're moved by those songs. And some people do say they like my sermons, which is good. But whatever it is, it's being a good person that makes you live longer. It's learning to be a good person from the time you're a kid all the way through old age. And if you didn't start out that way as a kid, and I know there's a whole lot of the biggest rising, most question answered survey question are the nones, None. I was raised in none of the above. A lot of people weren't raised in a religious community. I know folks that's like feeding your kids junk food. They're going to clog up their arteries. If you find a way back to health by being part of a religious community, it makes a difference. Now, I don't have the survey to say that, so you're just going to have to take it on the word of your minister. That no matter when you start coming to church, it's going to help you in your health. You don't believe me still? All right. How many of you have heard me say that when I was in college, I took a religious survey course? I was not a religion major in college, so I only took one religion course the whole time. It was kind of a survey course, and we ended up going on a field trip to Gethsemane Monastery in Trappist, Kentucky. I was in Indiana for college, so driving all the way down Indiana to over the border into Kentucky and go into that famous monastery there. And so the Trappists there had their routine going, and I think I've told you the drive down, I was quite sure that there was a guardian angel for my professor because I was in his car and he was speeding down those roads in ways that I was terrified. And there was a bicyclist and I thought he was going to mow him over, and it didn't happen. It's like I'm a Unitarian Universalist, and I was raised by atheistic Unitarian Universalists, but there's got to be something watching over this guy's driving, okay? And we arrive at Trappist, Kentucky, and we go in and we check ourselves in, and we have our own little cells to go in, and then they have the prayers 5 times a day or whatever, and I slept through the one at 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. or maybe 2 or 3 of them at that time in the morning. But once I got up and started going to the prayers, I found it so moving to see all of those monks who had spent their life just being in community and singing the songs. And I've said it to a large extent, my spirituality is from singing. So I get a lot from hearing that singing and being. I was at that concert, Susan Burr, with the Asheville Gay Men's, not Asheville, Atlanta Gay Men's Chorus over in Hendersonville. I get a lot from hearing singing. These men's voices were resonant, and they probably sold tapes of their prayer services and got some extra money from their gift shop. I don't know. That was an intentional community in which they all supported each other. Thomas Merton had been the most famous person there at that place, and he spoke and wrote on Catholicism. My great uncle, who was a religion professor, had studied and I think did his dissertation on Thomas Merton. And he died in the 20th century, but I have a quote here that was sent to me from David Hunter, who's in part of the Thursday men's group. And some of you may remember because he used to be active at coming on a Sunday morning. David, you'd live longer if you came on Sunday, but that's okay. It's called Thomas Merton and the Catholic Social Teaching, A Contemplative Path to Social Responsibility. One of Merton's most, I'm quoting here, one of Merton's most important insights is that we are not fully ourselves when we live in isolation or self-absorption. Here's a quote. Love is our true destiny, he wrote. We do not find the meaning of life by ourselves alone. We find it with each other. And that single sentence offers a deeply Christian vision of the human person. We are made for relationship, communion, and mutual responsibility. Catholic social teaching says the same in another register. No one is saved alone, and no one flourishes alone. Now, I know that's quoting Catholicism. Father Sean up the street will be glad that I was talking about Catholicism. And that may not be the particular way that has ever worked for you or might work for you, but there's wisdom in all the world's religions here. I like what Thomas Merton was pointing out with this. We can't flourish alone. We can't even know who we truly are alone until we are rubbing elbows with other folks. I mean, there are all sorts of things about what monks say when their vow of silence is taken up and they're allowed to say a few words. And they could say something like, Brother Joe isn't very charitable. And then they have to be silent the next 10 years. You know, community is not easy even for a whole bunch of monks. And we got complaints about the people we have to show up with when we come to the summer picnics with our family or whatever else. We do not want that person. But even that, if we have been taught anything about grounding and being with one another in our religious groundings, and we're able to make it through the picnic or the Thanksgiving dinner or whatever else it is that we have to be alongside others that we don't really want, but somehow we're forced to be along with, we are in fact the antithesis to what we see on the news. We are not the car accident. We are not the murder. We are not the thieving. We are not the violence in this world. We are in fact drawing on some inner resource that may have come from the best of community that we have felt to make it through the amount of time. Okay, I can make it 2 more hours. I can make it 2 more hours. And then being able to say, I'm glad that that interaction is over. But you might get a note from that person who you sat next to and who told you and spilled everything in the world that they had read online from whatever wacko news site they were reading. And they spent the whole meal doing that while your stomach is churning. And they might write a note saying, it was so great to see you. I haven't seen you forever. Thank you for being there. You were a gift in their world. Because probably nobody else likes to sit next to them and listen to them spout everything they read from their wacko news sites online. You are a gift to this world. Now I'm going to go to the CDC. And why am I telling you what the CDC writes about this? Because this was a particular site that went up on social connectedness on May of 2024. Now, May of 2024 is very different from after January 20th, 2025, as to what gets covered on the CDC website. And I'm going to tell you, somehow, this is still up. Even though it has the word diversity on its page, it is still up. So I'm going to read it to you, and then you can all run home and try to find this site on social connectedness at the CDC. Social connection is the size and diversity of one's social network and roles. The functions these relationships serve and their positive or negative qualities. Social connectedness reflects the continuum of meeting social connection needs. It's a degree to which you have the number, quality, and variety of relationships that you want. It's when you feel like you belong and you have the support and care that you need. Supportive social connections can lead to a longer and healthier lives. Now, again, this is the CDC saying, not just your ordained minister saying it, okay? Why it's important. Protection against chronic disease and serious illness. It says it, the CDC says this. High quality relationships can help people live longer, healthier lives. Social connection can help reduce the risk of chronic diseases and serious illness such as heart disease, stroke, dementia, depression, and anxiety, and positive health benefits. Social connection can lead to longer life, better health, and well-being. It can improve our ability to manage stress, anxiety, and depression, healthy eating habits and physical activity, and quality of sleep. How does it work? By creating social connections. People are social creatures by nature. Our relationships with family, friends, coworkers, and community members are important to our survival. Stable and supportive relationships give us the support we need to cope with stressful life challenges. People with healthy relationships are more likely to make healthy choices that lead to better mental and physical health. And social connection gives us emotional support, people we can turn to during good times and hard times, physical support, such as a ride to the doctor or grocery store, and help with childcare on short notice. And the article also goes on to notice improved neighborhoods and communities when people are connected. So the flourishing is extended. I know some of you don't want me to be quoting lots of stuff, but that was important for me to see that the CDC is recognizing this as well. Our flourishing in connection comes from the ability to say what we value, how we have purpose in life, the ways in which we understand we are not alone, and the people around us may need us. That's why we go ahead and post that we have a food train. That's why, just like in the storybook, we may, whether it's after church or some other day of the week, go down and help as soup kitchen, or help at the homeless center, or help at Sharing House. We show up in community and make our neighborhoods better, our communities better, because we're taught in this space that it's a good thing to do. And we know from the very roots of our being mammals that we'd much rather have our connection with one another than feeling isolation. Because the runt of the litter doesn't thrive. The Omega wolf kicked out of the pack has an awful life and does not thrive well. We know across species of mammals that we have built into us something that makes us better, healthier, and more contribution to the whole when we are together. That's the summary. Thanks for listening. We have a closing hymn which I want to ask you to turn 4 times. We're going to sing it through. So turn to, each time you're singing it, to somebody else around you. We're going to sing hymn number 402, From You I Receive, to You I Give. Together we share, and from this we live. I invite you to rise and look at one another. as our benediction, I bring words from my colleague, Reverend Tess Baumberger. As we go out this week, what will they say of us? That we lived upon this earth, or that we lived with this earth? That we earned solely for ourselves, or that we worked for the well-being of all? That we wasted precious life on the vanities and empty diversions, or that we each day claimed a meaningful existence? That we shut ourselves into rigid individualism, or that we nestled in the love of our friends, families, and whole interweave of humanity? What will they say of us? What would you have them say? Let us make each day not a beginning, not an exorcism from the past cutting off the threads, but rather let us take any frayed edges and weave them in new strands, continuous but discernible, mending the harmful fabric, making it whole once more, creating the integral tapestry of life. Blessings on all of us, and maybe blessings to all in this world. Thank you.